This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined here today by Frank Smith. We're at the Terence Crawford Amir announcement press conference. Happy New Year, Frank. How are you?
Happy New Year, mate. Very well. Relaxed, chilled, had a nice little break, did a lot of work, but got a nice break, got a suntan, and ready to get back to it and carry on where we left off in 2018.
Not quite as impressive as Eddie's suntan. Saw that yesterday.
Oh, really? Maybe it was because the light you had shining on him wasn't so bright, so he looked like he had a better suntan than me. But it's not a competition. What do you prefer him to me? His looks?
Probably a bit early to say.
Okay, thanks, mate.
So we're here, Terence Crawford, Amir Khan. First and foremost, how does it feel to get the fight over the line for Amir?
Yeah, look, it's a great fight. It's two fighters who have done so much for boxing already in their careers. Terence Crawford, arguably one of the best pound-for-pound fighters out there, and Amir Khan, who's won world titles. He's come back. He's took on the best fighters out there. He took on Canelo, two divisions above where he is now, and then came back 2 fights with us in the last year. Been active, back with his trainer Virgil, and it's going to be a great fight. Amir's never shied away from a challenge, and he's shown that here as well.
Let's just talk about that. Him rejoining Virgil seems to be a great move from what people have been saying about that. What kind of advantages do you think that will give him compared to the performance against Samuel Vargas under Joe Goosen?
I think he said it in the press conference as well. It's harder to get up for some of the fights that, Samuel Vargas, where he's fought at the highest level against the guys like Canelo, against a fight like we have here with Crawford. I think he worked very well with Joe Goosen, but he's been with Virgil for 6 or 7 years, I believe. So I think he didn't want to leave him. It was the fact that Virgil was ill. He's now better, so it was natural, I believe, that he went back to him.
Something that's was even mentioned in the press conference. The Kell Brook fight was no secret. It was something that Matchroom were lobbying for. How disappointed were you that fight hasn't come to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, disappointed, strong, because this is a great fight in itself. Obviously, that was a fight people wanted to see. We wanted to see that fight as British fight fans, but, you've got to commend Amir for taking the toughest fights. If that's what Amir wanted to do, Amir's gone down the route he wanted to go down. He is the guy getting in the ring at the end of the day. So, as he said in the press conference, who knows what happens in boxing? You never know. Eddie said that was the best time for it to happen, or that was the only time it was going to happen. But, he couldn't. He wanted to fight Terence Crawford, so no one can stand in his way.
Eddie told me yesterday that he feels that they've missed the boat now on a potential Colebrook-Khan fight. Do you agree with that?
Look, I think it was the best time. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen now. Who knows with boxing, though? It's one of those things. But things change overnight, don't they? But I think if it was going to happen, now was the best time for it to happen.
Where do you stand with Amir's contract situation? 3-fight deal. This is the 3rd fight of that deal. Will you be renewing the deal with him?
Look, we've worked very closely. We worked really well together, Amir and all of his team. Hopefully we carry on a partnership after this. And I believe Amir's happy with what we deliver for him, and we've had a great experience working with him. So hopefully we can work together beyond this.
Where do you stand for UK TV? Eddie said to me yesterday that you, Matchroom, have the UK TV rights, but it's kind of up in the air as to where that's going. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's, as Bob said in the press conference, news on that will be later this week, early next week, and there's a lot of things being worked on there. So you'll see more on that from probably Top Rank in the next week or 2.
Does the deal that ESPN currently have with BT Sport, does that make that more of a likely destination for the fight on pay-per-view? I
don't believe so. As promoters, there's always different options for promoters to go down when they're making fights of this magnitude. So I don't think in any way that means it's locked in anywhere else.
Just want to touch on something that Bob said in the press conference when he alluded to Al Heyman and not working with other fighters. He said that it's bad for boxing, and paraphrasing that, he's the only promoter who doesn't work with other fighters. Just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, he obviously feels very passionately about it. We've worked with Al Heyman fighters, but it's tough, isn't it? We're all competitors, really. We get on very well with Top Rank, work very closely with them, work well, but at the end of the day, we are competitors. So, that's more of a thing, I think, between the two of them. It's never been something we've directly brought up. I'm sure Al Heyman's got his own plans, just like Bob Arum's got his own plans. So I think you'd have to speak to those guys to get a better feel of it.
Well, if you can put me in touch with Al Heyman, I'll have a word with him.
I haven't got his number, unfortunately, mate. I'm not sure many people have.
Just finally, where does this leave Kell Brook? Obviously, rumours about a fight with Jeff Horn. He's mandatory for Jarrett Hurd. Obviously, Jesse Vargas at 147 is another fight that's been mentioned. When can we expect him back in the ring, and what kind of opponent?
That's our job now, obviously, to go out. This was the fight we wanted to try and make for both of our guys. We promoted both of them. It's the fight we wanted to make for them. So it's our job now to go out and look for those options. You know, strength we've got now is we've got the US backing as well with the DAZN deal, so we can make big fights for Kell, and we've got to go out there and deliver for him now.
Just finally, before I let you go, when can we expect an announcement on Anthony Joshua's return to the ring? Obviously, the rumour mill is fully in motion at the minute. Eddie's away on this kind of mystical New York. Yeah. When can we expect an announcement on that? There's heavy rumours about Gerald Miller potentially at Madison Square Garden. You've also obviously got the April 13th date at Wembley.
Look, there's quite a few options being talked about. There's a lot going on. I think by the end of this week, end of next week, we'll be in a position. You know, we need to close it out very soon. You know, once we start getting into February, you're 2.5 months out from the April 13th date if we're going to go down that route. So there's a lot of options. We've got to work on it. We've got to push it through now. And I think in the next 7 to 10 days, you'll see something.
Okay, well, always a pleasure catching up with you, Frank Smith. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, mate. See you soon.
Cheers, Frank. Nice one, mate.